Welcome back to Fred Achando Analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka has remained a hard nut to crack in Kamba politics. In fact, he has entrenched himself as the undisputed Kamba kingpin. I want to say here, without fear of contradiction, that the name watermelon should be expunged from his tag. Because I've realized that Kalonzo might blow hot and cold, might send mixed signals, but the ultimate end is that Kalonzo Musyoka has got a very strong support base behind him. If you have studied the Kenyan politics in the prevailing circumstances, you will notice that Kalonzo Musyoka has remained to be the biggest nightmare for President William Ruto in his bid to scuttle Azimio, in his bid to render Azimio dysfunctional. In this video, I want us to listen to Wavinya Ndeti, and in the voice, if you are very keen, you will listen to William Ruto talking. The body that is speaking is Wavinya Ndeti, but the words are echoing the sentiments of President William Ruto. And we want to listen to Wavinya Ndeti, then we will look at why William Ruto is bitter with Kalonzo Musyoka and the methods, hidden method he's trying to use to ensure that he destabilizes Kalonzo Musyoka. Before we do this, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to request you to continue supporting our channel. We launched a 50 shillings challenge where we beseech you to send 50 shillings or anything that you have to our Mpesa because we want to buy a camera. Our videos are still very dark, so for better content we really need a camera, and if you support me in this, I'll really appreciate, and may God bless you in advance.
Hapa kuna watu sisi tumewasupport kama jamii ya Wakamba miaka mingi, na wako na audacity ya kusimama wanasema ati Mkamba ni nini? Ati Mkamba ni nini? Hiyo madharau mtawacha. Hiyo madharau mtawacha. Maneno ya kuona Wakamba kama ni ghasia, tuko na nyinyi. Hamwezi kusema ati Mkamba ni nini, Mkamba ni nini. Mkamba ukifanya nini siasa za Kenya, Mkamba ako ndani ya map. Kama Mkamba agemei pande fulani ama pande fulani, siasa za Kenya haziwezi kuendelea. Kwa hivyo as Kamba community, and I'm telling our His Excellency Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, sisi hatutaki kuchukuliwa na madharau na mtu. Na wacha nikuambie, sifichi sasa, Mheshimiwa Kalonzo Musyoka, ambia Raila akuje nyuma yako. Ambia Raila akuje nyuma ya nani? This time, support His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka. And I'm telling you with no fear of favor, if you do not support him, we are not with you.
If you listen to Wavinya Ndeti, the only thing I picked that is very correct is that you cannot talk of Kenyan politics if you isolate Kambas. Because anytime they support a particular candidate, they bring in a massive vote. And that is very true. Even if it means Raila Odinga supporting Kalonzo Musyoka, I believe that these are matters that they can always discuss between themselves and the leaders and their supporters. It is not bad. The only problem I have with it is that that is not the sentiment of Wavinya Ndeti. That is the sentiment of William Samoei Ruto, who has got a hidden agenda. Before I go into the several dirty methods that William Ruto is using, I want us to look at why is it that Kalonzo Musyoka has become a center of attraction and a nightmare to William Samoei Ruto. Now, William Samoei Ruto has decided that he's looking at 2027, and he's putting everything in place. And one of the people that is becoming a threat to him in 2027 is Kalonzo Musyoka. And why am I saying this? Kalonzo Musyoka has weathered 2 storms, and he has proved that he is a strong foundation in Kamba politics. Let's go back to the August polls. Prior to the August polls, there are 2 people who are trying to pull Kalonzo Musyoka. And that was Raila Amolo Odinga, who used the former governors, Charity Ngilu, Kivutha Kibwana, and the Maendeleo Chap guy. And they had decided that they box Kalonzo into a corner. They were forcing him to join Azimio. Kalonzo dilly-dallied because he wanted to ensure that he gets into Azimio. He wanted to show that he's the kingpin and that everyone followed him to Azimio so that he's got a stronger voice. And that is what he did. He blew hot and cold. He gave mixed signals. But finally, because I even remember that at some point he launched his presidential bid. But finally he joined Azimio with all the supporters behind him. And if you think I'm lying, all the three governors are from the Wiper Party. Because Ngilu was trounced by Malombe. And Kivutha Kibwana, I think, had got someone he had sponsored. The Maendeleo Chap guy had got someone that he had sponsored. But Kalonzo overran them and he produced all the Kamba governors, including Wavinya Ndeti, who is now talking. Number two, William Ruto used Jimmy Wanjigi to try and isolate Kalonzo Musyoka to contest alone, or to join him. Kalonzo refused because Kalonzo seemed to be very calculative. He knew very well that William Ruto had rejected the BBI, and therefore even if he went to the UDA, he was going to get nothing because the only post that was remaining was that of chief minister that Mudavadi had taken. So after weathering the two storms, Kalonzo Musyoka remained a strong man. Owing to the over 2.5 million votes that he controls, Kalonzo can give you a run for your money. And William Ruto knows that. William Ruto is bitter with somebody who is controlling a massive support base. Number two, Kalonzo Musyoka is a very likable person. You take him to Central as a presidential candidate, he will get massive votes compared to Raila Amolo Odinga. Why? It is very easy to hoodwink Central people when Raila is contesting, because I've seen leaders from there mentioning that, you know, Raila tried a coup in 1982. They have mentioned that in 2007 Raila scuttled the victory of Mwai Kibaki and he forced a handshake. And they have mentioned that even in the previous government, Raila boxed President Uhuru Kenyatta into a corner and he forced a handshake. These are things and lies and fallacies that you can mention about Raila, but you will have none against Kalonzo Musyoka. In fact, if Kalonzo Musyoka had to run for presidency, he will get more votes, because the only historical political background that you can connect him with Central people is that in 2007, when elections had been rigged and Raila wanted his victory, Kalonzo Musyoka joined hands very fast with the late President Mwai Kibaki, and they formed a government. So with that, you will not get something to demonize Kalonzo, and they will easily vote for him. The neighboring Meru counties will vote for Kalonzo Musyoka because you all know that they share borders. In fact, sometimes you will get Kambas and Merus sharing the same language. The Kambas speaking Meru language and Merus speaking Kamba language. And so, if you have the two, Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka, and you want to sell either of them to Mount Kenya, Kalonzo will sell very fast. And this is something that William Ruto fears, because he understands that if Kalonzo Musyoka would be given the Azimio mantle, I can assure you it is going to be very difficult for William Samoei Ruto. If you remove the central votes from William Ruto will remain a shell. So if you would divide those votes with Kalonzo Musyoka, because there are people who don't like William Ruto in Central, but they also don't like Raila Amolo Odinga. So either they decide not to vote, or they will look for a better devil, which would be William Samoei Ruto. So if you present them with an alternative, Kalonzo Musyoka will be given the mantle. In fact, Kalonzo Musyoka is the reason why Raila Amolo Odinga even went to the polls in the last elections, because he gave Raila over 2 million votes, and is the reason why Raila could boldly face the Supreme Court and say that my votes were stolen. I want you to imagine today if Kalonzo with the 2 million votes was never with Raila. The perception would be that all the Oka leaders had gone, because William Ruto managed to take the Chief Minister Musalia Mudavadi and the Speaker Moses Wetangula. So if he had taken Kalonzo Musyoka, then that perception alone would dent Raila. And then with the 2 million votes gone, Raila would not even have the wherewithal to stand before the people, the audacity to stand before the court that my votes were stolen. So that is one thing that scares Ruto, because he knows very well that if this happens, then Kalonzo will give him a run for his money. I know you could easily jump into, William Ruto will rig elections. Kenya has become of age, and we might not see another rigging. It might be very chaotic, I can assure you. I also believe that the international community, which aided Ruto's presidency, did not do that because William Ruto is the best. They were looking for a better devil. Raila Odinga has got a very bitter history with the international community, dating back to his father. The founding fathers, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga and Jomo Kenyatta, were reading from two different pots. While Mzee Jomo Kenyatta decided to work with the West, Oginga Odinga, his arch rival for some time, decided to work with the East. Back then, communism and capitalism were like water and paraffin. They never, and I think even to date, that is why Russia and USA to date are never reading from the same page. Raila Odinga went to school in East Germany, then under communism. And so the curse of communism has followed Raila Odinga to date, because they look at Raila as his father. And then Raila has continued talking about the unity of Africa, something that US and the West do not want. So if you give them Kalonzo, I'm telling you, they could easily pick Kalonzo and even leave William Samoei Ruto. William Ruto went and signed an agreement behind the former president Uhuru Kenyatta. And that's the reason why when the president thought that he had the deep state to work the tail end of our elections, he realized that USA had decided that it was William Ruto and he could do nothing. That is why in Bomas, you saw the deputy inspector general was taking charge. And US gave Ruto, and the USA decided that Uhuru Kenyatta keeps off his succession politics. So if you give them Kalonzo, they can easily bring him up, sign an agreement with him, sign a pact with him, so that he becomes the president. Now let me tell you the reason why this is possible. William Ruto is suffering from legitimacy issues. That is why he is ferrying people to his prayer rallies. That is why he's trying to poach, leaders from the opposition. And this is the reason why even to date, when Raila Odinga spoke against the GMO, that thing is still lying in the courts, and there is nothing they can do. Kalonzo Musyoka would easily sit down with Raila Odinga so that they can work together if he was the president, and he would not scuttle several agendas of the USA. And you never know. In politics, don't say something is impossible. So William Ruto knows very well that the same way he signed an agreement against the chagrin of the former president Uhuru Kenyatta, Kalonzo Musyoka would easily sign an agreement. If today Raila Odinga decide that he is giving his support base to Kalonzo Musyoka, so you can imagine all the Azimio support base plus the chunk that he will get from Mount Kenya, then Kalonzo would easily trounce as a president. And William Ruto knows very well that this is very possible, and that's why he is bitter with Kalonzo Musyoka. He's trying to scuttle him. He's using people like Wavinya Ndeti. Now, Wavinya Ndeti started by saying that they don't want rallies in Ukambani. He threatened, but Kalonzo Musyoka went ahead and they held a rally in Machakos, a very successful one. He realized that was not working. Now he's whipping emotions, telling people that, some Raila supporters are undermining Kalonzo Musyoka. Nothing can be further from the truth. If you speak to Raila supporters, they will tell you that they have a debt to pay to Kalonzo Musyoka, because Kalonzo Musyoka has supported Raila thrice. And if you ask them, they really believe that Kalonzo Musyoka can be a very strong leader if he's given a chance. So whatever Wavinya Ndeti is saying is a mere fallacy. And I read the language of William Samoei Ruto. I remember when William Ruto had decided that he was charging the narrative of the hustlers versus the dynasty. He used to tell the dynasties, mutaacha madharao, don't look down on the wananchi. That is the same thing that Wavinya Ndeti is saying now. And people like Mutula Kilonzo Jr. had also indicated that they don't want a rally. So whether this is going to whether this will succeed is something that I don't understand. We wait and see, because Kalonzo had indicated that he knows what is best for his people, and wherever he leads them for the better good. We wait and see what happens. What do you think? Do you think Kalonzo should become Azimio, or he should continue following Raila Odinga? Share with me in the comment section, and thanks for watching.